More than 100 firefighters battle a blaze at a waste management facility that erupted overnight. The fire still considered active. Good afternoon. Plumes of smoke continue to engulf an area of Etobicoke hours after the initial call came in.
No injuries have been reported, but fire crews and police remain on scene. CTV's Beth McDonnell is live in Etobicoke with the latest. Beth.
Nathan, Michelle, this is a large industrial fire not far from the airport. It started more than 12 hours ago, and crews are still here working to put out hot spots. The fire broke out shortly after 10:30 last night in the area of Disco Drive and Carlingview Drive. We're told this is a waste transfer facility, about 50,000 square feet in size. It's privately owned, and contains construction materials. Crews say there were concerns about runoff into Menopause Creek, so to get that under control, dikes and bales of hay were set up. They also say due to smoke flowing over some office towers and air quality issues, some facilities have been closed. A notice was also sent over to Pearson, letting them know about possible flight paths being affected. No one was inside the facility when the fire started, and no one was hurt, but because of the size of the fire, up to 100 firefighters initially responded.
When the crews arrived, there was smoke coming from all the exits, and so they quickly upgraded it to a third alarm and started an interior attack and knocked the flames down, as I said, around the piles. And right now we're just trying to pull what we can without the heavy equipment and try to get at those piles.
So those piles, Michelle and Nathan, are things like heavy equipment, construction material, things as big as like a backhoe. And so essentially, while this fire, crews say, is contained at the moment, they need to get at all those piles, bring in heavy equipment to take all the piles out, put water on all the piles to make sure this fire is really out. Reporting live, I'm Beth McDonnell. Back to you.
Thank you, Beth. York Regional Police say one person has been injured in a shooting outside a home in Newmarket, and it is the second time the house has been targeted. Police were called to the home on Hewitt Circle in the area of Bathurst Street and Mullock Drive just after 4:30 this morning. They say the victim was shot while sitting in a parked vehicle. They are in hospital with serious injuries but are expected to survive. No arrests have been made at this point. Police say shots were also fired at the home 1 week ago, but no one was injured in that shooting.
The suspect vehicle fled the scene immediately after the shots were fired. When we arrived on scene, we learned that a victim suffered serious but non-life-threatening injuries, and they have been taken to a local hospital. This is the second time the residence has been struck by gunfire, and we are treating this as a targeted incident. We are working to determine the connection between the victim and the residence.
Police say the male suspect who opened fire arrived in a light-colored SUV and was last seen wearing a dark hoodie and dark pants. Investigators are asking anyone with information, video surveillance, or dash camera footage to come forward.
We're learning more about the suspect in the shooting death of a young mother in Brampton on Tuesday. Court documents show he was out on bail after he was charged in connection with an incident where a gun was fired near the woman. 38-year-old Anthony DeShepper was killed in a police shooting in Niagara Falls. A few hours after, 29-year-old Savannah Kula was shot and killed in a parking lot near Queen and Airport Road. Police say DeShepper fled the scene in Brampton with the couple's 1-year-old daughter, who was later found safe with relatives in Niagara region. Kula was also a mother of 3 young boys. Police are calling her death a case of intimate partner violence. Kula's mother says her daughter was trying to end the relationship. Multiple investigations remain underway.
A pedestrian has been taken to hospital after a crash in Brampton last night. Peel police say multiple vehicles collided near Beauvais Drive and Bramalea Road just before 7 p.m. A woman was struck in the crash and taken to hospital with serious injuries. All vehicles involved remain on scene. Paramedics say a man was also taken to hospital with minor injuries. An investigation is underway. More news in a moment, but let's shift our attention to the weather forecast this afternoon. Not too bad at this hour. Definitely some clouds in the mix. We saw some sun earlier today, and you're probably getting used to the fact that mornings are, cooler. You need a jacket these days. Lindsay Morrison is here with a look at the current conditions. Are we anticipating some rain this afternoon?
Well, once again, Michelle, you may also be getting used to the fact that we are calling for a chance of showers through today. Not a washout of a day, not a guarantee, but if you're joining us from areas like Stony Creek or the east end of the GTA, you may be getting clipped by a little bit of wet weather right now. So the possibility of showers remains with us today, thanks in part to winds that are coming out of the west and the northwest, depending on where you are. And yes, they are a little gusty, gusting to near 40 kilometers per hour right now. It is currently 11 degrees in the city of Toronto, but a lot of single digits on this map. That will be a pattern going forward, especially into the weekend and beyond. But today at a glance shows a seasonal high of 12 degrees, varying amounts of sun, cloud, and yes, that chance of showers. We're going to talk about what's in store for your Friday night, also what's in store for the weekend and early next week. A little preview. It's going to get even cooler. We'll talk all about it coming up. For now, Nathan, over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Batter up. Excitement is ramping up for the World Series, which begins tomorrow, and preparations are underway as Toronto gets ready to take center stage for the first game.
And fans are also prepping, many lining up early this morning to get their hands on World Series merch. CTV's Allison Hurst is live with more on the anticipation. And Allison, the tickets are definitely a hot item, but merch is a close second.
Absolutely, Michelle. Merch is definitely a close second. We have seen this line going all day, starting early this morning. In fact, I spoke with the person who was at the front of the line this morning. He says he got there just before 8 o'clock this morning, hoping to get a World Series hat. And when he left empty-handed, saying that there weren't any in stock at that point. We have since spoken to somebody else who did just get a hat, saying that a box of them arrived just in the last few minutes, so they have restocked those. But yes, the merch is a hot ticket. The tickets are hot ticket as everybody gets excited for Game 1 tomorrow. The line snakes around Rogers Centre as excited fans hope to get in on the World Series swag.
We got here in about 45 minutes. I'd say 9:15.
One of those nice World Series hats and maybe a t-shirt.
I have 3 kids under 5, 3 girls. So I was able to get some stuff for the older ones, but not for the baby. They have stuff for babies, but not World Series branded stuff.
While others came to get the jersey for the ALCS Game 7 hero, George Springer.
The man.
Thomas Silver says he's optimistic.
I'm sitting on the fence, but I have a good feeling about the Jays this year.
Inside, ground crews are getting the field ready with a little help from players Miles Straw and Joey Loper-Fido, painting the World Series logo on the field. The LA Dodgers are here, arriving last night ahead of Game 1. But Jays fans say they're not worried about the Dodgers' star-studded lineup.
We're on a run, and we got them. No problem.
Hopefully win the first one, go home or go to LA split or up 2-0, but I'm super optimistic, and my gut doesn't lie. It's saying Jays in 6.
I think we have a chance, we're an underdog, but I think the boys can come through.
Making their first Fall Classic appearance in 32 years. So obviously a lot of confidence and a lot of optimism from fans. We will hear later how the Jays players are feeling. We'll have a chance to speak with them as well as manager John Schneider and hear a little bit of a sense of what it's like in their clubhouse. They also have a workout scheduled for later on this afternoon. Reporting live, I'm Allison Hurst. Nathan, back to you.
Thank you, Allison. The World Series may be coming to Toronto, but that doesn't mean it's easy or cheap to get a seat in the Rogers Centre. Fans are reporting some ticket listings in the tens of thousands of dollars, and with that in mind, the Premier says he might bring back rules limiting the price of resold tickets.
My personal opinion, I got to talk to the whole team, but they're gouging the people. When you have one player in the market that controls the tickets, that's not right for the people. So we're reviewing that right now.
While official World Series tickets are sold through Ticketmaster, they're also resold through other sites, sometimes at many times the original cost. Back in 2019, the Ford government scrapped a liberal law that would have capped resale prices at 50% above face value, calling it unenforceable. Opposition parties say the PC should have reversed course sooner.
The Ford government once again failed everyday people in order to align themselves with corporate interests.
We need the government to take action.
People expect their government to make sure there's fairness.
For its part, Ticketmaster said in a statement, "We appreciate the concern about the high prices to the World Series, but Ticketmaster is not setting these prices, nor is any one person or entity. The resale prices are set by numerous small sellers."
The Prime Minister is in the GTA today for a funding announcement on Ontario's nuclear program.
It was a joint announcement with Premier Doug Ford at the Darlington Nuclear Facility. And CTV's Siobhan Morris is live with more details. Siobhan.
Well, this is making good on a promise from the federal government. This project, building 4 small nuclear modular reactors, is on the Prime Minister's special projects list, nation-building projects list. That list is being drafted somewhat as a response to the U.S. tariffs, trying to shore up the Canadian economy and create jobs. Ontario has been coming at this project as needed to help increase our energy capacity in the province as demand grows. Here's more of what we heard from the Prime Minister and the Premier this afternoon.
The Darlington new nuclear project will sustain 3,700 jobs annually, including 18,000 additional jobs during construction. Those 3,700 jobs, they'll extend over the next 65 years. A couple of more World Series trips for the Jays. Jobs like the plant workers who are here with us today, fulfilling careers in the trades, working to provide Ontario families with power.
We're also making sure that at least 80% of the project spending goes to Ontario companies, and we're using Ontario products at every opportunity so that Ontario tax dollars support Ontario workers. That includes using steel made here in the province by Ontario steel workers to build the new SMRs. With tariffs and economic uncertainty hammering Ontario's workers and businesses, this is exactly the sort of investment our province needs.
Well, the investment from the federal government is $2 billion towards the project. Ontario is kicking in another $1 billion. Now, this is just part of the first round of that major projects list. The Premier has said he believes that Mark Carney will agree to add the 401 tunnel, that controversial project, to that priority list. I asked the Prime Minister today if he will. He didn't give a straight answer. Reporting live, I'm Siobhan Morris. Nathan Michel, back to you.
Thank you, Siobhan. And speaking of the Prime Minister, Mark Carney spoke last night about the economy and budget challenges our country is facing. Carney was addressing university students in Ottawa. He says the upcoming budget will balance the operating deficit in 3 years by reducing wasteful government spending and doing more with less. Carney also says he wants to double Canada's non-U.S. exports in the next decade to generate $300 billion more in trade. The budget will be delivered November 4th.
Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre reacted to Carney's speech today.
We got the normal buffet of broken promises and buzzwords. There was lots of talk about catalyzing this and catalyzing that. There was a new promise about doubling exports to non-U.S. markets, all while he refuses to even support the one single thing that would actually export more of our resources to those markets. He's still not stating his support for an oil pipeline to the Pacific, nor has he gotten any projects underway that would achieve any of these things.
Poilievre met privately with the Prime Minister yesterday to share what he'd like to see in the November 4th federal budget. The opposition leader said he urged Mark Carney to present an affordable budget that cuts taxes and caps the overall budget deficit at $42 billion.
And just hours after the Prime Minister's address last night, the C.D. Howe Institute released its latest financial accountability report cards, not just for the federal government, but the provinces as well. For the latest on this, we bring in CTV's Scott Hurst, live in the national newsroom. Scott, first, let's talk about how the federal government did in this year's report.
Yeah, starting off with the federal government, because of course that does affect all of us, and it appears Ottawa is not making the grade in a new fiscal accountability report, as you mentioned, released by the C.D. Howe Institute. Now, we heard the Prime Minister in his pre-budget address talk about generational investment, but also sacrifices, all the while Canadians have still not yet seen the latest federal budget. And overall, that is one of the main concerns pointed out by the C.D. Howe Institute and the report card on senior government, saying too many budgets are late and most governments take far too long to produce their financial statements. Here is a look at all of the provinces and how they stack up in this latest report card, with Alberta top of the class with an A+, Ontario being given a letter grade of B-, and as we mentioned, the federal government receiving a letter grade of a D. And the report points out the feds have been been late in both its budget and financial statements, presenting estimates using different accounting, burying some key numbers deep in its budget, and also having a large gap between its projected and actual result. Now, to make matters worse, Ottawa is also on track to be the only senior government to get a failing grade next year, as it stands right now, Michelle.
Can we zone in on the provinces, specifically Ontario's grade there? It's not the best, but not the worst.
Not the best, but not the worst, as it points out. A lot of this has to do with timing and the release of budgets and financial statements, and so it applauded Alberta, which is why it was given an A+, whereas Ontario was just below a whole host of other provinces that were given Bs, with Ontario, as I mentioned, coming in with a B-.
And what might happen now that we've got these grades?
Well, of course, government should be accountable to us. We are the tax-paying citizens. Their money is our money, so it's an important snapshot for both the governments, the provincial and federal governments, and us, the taxpayers, as well. As the report states, Canadians shouldn't have to be experts in reading balance sheets and annual reports just to understand how their money is being spent. Now, this rating on senior governments is not so much specifically about results, rather accountability. And as the report simply states, can taxpayers follow the money, Michelle?
CTV's Scott Hurst, live for us in the National Newsroom. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Michelle.
The federal justice minister is holding a news conference later this hour ahead of the Carney government introducing a bill on bail reform and sentencing. CTV's Jeremy Sharon's following this story and joins us live with more on what to expect. Jeremy, what do we know so far about today's announcement?
Yeah, well, Nathan, the Justice Minister is kind of making official what the Prime Minister teased last week. So we do know quite a bit. And the government is looking to make some changes to the way the bail system works in the country, specifically targeting repeat offenders, ensuring that those accused of dangerous crimes are being kept out of communities across the country. Some of the changes that will be made to the system include the reverse onus bail system. So basically, this would put the onus on the accused to ensure that they are proving that they can be trusted to be released back into the public rather than the other way around. And another key element to this new piece of legislation is consecutive sentencing. That would ensure that repeat offenders are spending more time in jail rather than being out on the streets. And, you know, this comes amid pressure from the Conservatives, but also from stakeholders, police associations, municipalities that have been pushing for changes to the legislation due to the high rate of crimes being committed by accused that are out on bail. So the government making good on a campaign promise here. And again, we know a lot of what is to come today, but they'll make that official through tabling legislation here in Ottawa today.
And Jeremy, Prime Minister Carney first announced the new bail reform bill last week. What was the reaction to the initial announcement?
Yeah, look, the Conservative leader has been quite critical of the Prime Minister in his rolling out of this bill. The Conservatives are saying that, you know, the government is not going far enough with this legislation, and that they've taken too long to do it. You know, it's been about 6 months since this government, since this party-formed government, if you will, and so they're saying they've dragged their heels on this. They would rather see the government adopt their idea of this bill, which is the Jail Not Bail Act that Conservatives have proposed, that just goes kind of even further than some of the measures that are included in this legislation. On the flip side, you know, the Toronto Police Association called this a good first step. They believe that this is, you know, a necessary measure, and they're certainly supportive of the government making changes to the bail system, as was the Federation of Canadian Municipalities. There have been mayors and elected officials from across the country that have been pushing for this as well. They are welcoming this change. Again, the official legislation will be tabled today, and then the big question is whether or not the government can get the support it needs to pass it through the House of Commons.
All right, we're going to find out. CTV's Jeremy Sharon in Ottawa. Thank you.
Anytime.
Ontario's opposition parties called for the resignation of the Prime Minister, or make that the minister, responsible for the Skills Development Fund for the third day in a row.
As CTV's John Woodward reports, the government canceled a fundraiser and didn't invite media to an announcement as it struggles to weather the scandal.
There was supposed to be a PC party fundraiser at this site in North York Wednesday night. It was cancelled as the clouds continue to swirl around the Skills Development Fund. Ontario's opposition again called for the resignation of Labour Minister David Piccini.
Now that minister should be fired. He should be fired over this. He should be cancelled just like he had to cancel his fundraiser.
That's in the wake of news stories tracking hundreds of millions of dollars going to organizations who endorsed the PCs through connected lobbyists. Ontario's Auditor General found some $750 million went to organizations picked by political staff, even though bureaucrats ranked them low. Piccini was at Ontario's legislature to answer questions.
To the Premier, workers who really need this fund are asking, are you going to keep standing by your man?
Speaker, a near doubling of the number of women registering for apprenticeships. Wow. Those are the results. We're going to keep working hard to get the job done.
That morning, he'd also been at a Skills Development Fund announcement at the headquarters of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, but didn't invite the media. Some $8.6 million was handed out, $2.3 million to the IBEW. Records show their business manager has given $8,000 to the PCs in the past 5 years, $750,000 to the Provincial Building and Construction Trades Council. Several of its affiliates endorsed Doug Ford in the last election, though it says it doesn't take a position. $186,000 to Enercare. The lobbyist registry showed they hired a lobbyist for training and skills development.
The fund is not the problem, it's the politicians. The Premier and his ministers need to get their hands off that fund. It is not their personal piggy bank.
Piccini's been personally scrutinized. He was photographed at these seats with a director of a company that would go on to get millions. And the NDP has complained he went to the wedding of the lobbyist for that company.
You shouldn't be at the glass, you should be in the penalty box.
No sign Ford has given up on Piccini, though the cancellation of the fundraisers may sting. Records show one of Piccini's previous fundraisers netted some $50,000. John Woodward, CTV News.
To the beaches now, where the century-old trees that line Neville Park Boulevard are a stunning feature.
But despite their beauty, residents fear it's only a matter of time before some of them come crashing down. CTV's Natalie Johnson has the story.
This is going to be my primary bedroom, as you can see, like a really cool cottagey style roof. And then this crazy big tree, which I'm super scared of.
Towering above this backyard in the beaches is a massive red oak, perched on the slope of the ravine that lines the eastern edge of Neville Park Boulevard.
It looks really heavy, and it's like at a 45-degree angle, like right over the house. I just wanted to get rid of it. Like, there's no point in taking any chances.
But when Sean Miller sought a permit from the city to remove the privately owned tree, it was denied per the bylaw because it had been deemed healthy and maintainable.
There's so many kids who play on the street, and I think for their safety and for everybody's safety, like, let's just remove some of the danger.
An arborist hired by the homeowner to conduct a risk assessment described the tree as being in fair to good condition and unlikely to fail within the next 2 years. But the report also noted that if it did fall down, the consequences could be severe given the size of the tree and the proximity to the home.
We see perfectly healthy trees that present as perfectly healthy, snapping, tipping over, and when they do, it often ends up in the backyard of somebody's property or even worse, through the roof of their house.
It has now happened 7 times in the past 5 years on this street.
They just keep falling like one after the next.
Including in August on Maya Perot's property.
It was very, very scary. We were so lucky that the house wasn't affected, that didn't fall on us.
Today, though, at Community Council,
some of the assessments that had been done from the ground level had assessed trees in the past as healthy and maintainable.
Oh, interesting. So sometimes that's an assessment that's done, and yet we still have catastrophic failure.
Miller's request to take down the tree was rejected on appeal.
What we don't do is remove trees just because a tree nearby fell. What we don't do is remove trees just because a local councillor feels like it. We remove trees when there's a real risk.
A red oak now wrapped in red tape as Miller looks to plant roots in his new neighborhood.
It scares me. It's just very intimidating.
Worried about damage to his dream home before it's even built. Natalie Johnson, CTV News.
In the U.S., more than 30 people have been charged in connection with schemes involving illegal sports betting and rigged poker games.
But my message to the defendants who've been rounded up today is this. Your winning streak has ended. Your luck has run out. Violating the law is a losing proposition, and you can bet on that.
In the first case, 6 defendants are accused of participating in an insider sports betting conspiracy that exploited confidential information about NBA athletes and teams. Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier is among those charged. Meanwhile, Portland Trailblazers head coach is among those charged in a separate indictment. It alleges a wide-ranging scheme to rig underground poker games that were backed by the mafia.
The king prayed with Pope Leo today during a historic visit to the Vatican. The pontiff and the Archbishop of York presided over the service on the altar of the Sistine Chapel. It focused on the unifying theme of God the Creator and was the first time since the Reformation that leaders of the 2 Christian churches have prayed together. The king's state visit is intended to forge closer relations between the Church of England and the Catholic Church.
Well, we know it's been an unsettled week, but yesterday we only picked up 1 millimeter of rain at Pearson Airport, so that brings our tally for October so far to about 20 millimeters, which is only about a third of the rainfall we typically see in the month of October. So it's been a dry month. It's also been warmer than normal. More on that in a moment. Not much more rain in the forecast. Yes, the chance of showers, but maybe an additional millimeter. Here's how it all looks to play out. Unsettled for today, chance of showers tomorrow, but becoming drier. And then the weekend is going to bring us further improvement. There's some sun to look forward to, but some cool temperatures as well, especially overnight. We'll take you through the weekend forecast after the break.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
All right, to the forecast. You know, I was watching some of those morning shows out of L.A., and there's a lot of concern about the weather here.
Oh,
Friendly
no.
reminder, we play inside a dome.
That's helpful, right? It doesn't matter what the weather is outside, but certainly for folks in L.A., yeah, and as the Dodgers settle into our city, they might find it a bit chilly, but this is pretty good for this time of year, and I think it's good for our players because we're just a hardy bunch.
I'm going to take any advantage we can get, and if that's the weather, even though we play inside a dome, let's take it. It is going to cool down a little bit as we make our way through this World Series. In fact, beginning Friday night, but I'm also happy to share that this very unsettled weather pattern we've been dealing with, it looks to come to an end. So it should be clear skies by first pitch. Weather is brought to you by the Presler Law Firm Injury Lawyers. You don't pay unless they win. We did not have clear skies this morning, but we did have a rainbow. Our CTV News chopper caught it while in flight early on this morning. That's an upside to the rounds of showers that have made their way across southern Ontario. We are still dealing with them right now. In fact, here's a look at the satellite and radar. Again, not everyone is going to be impacted by rain. Not everyone is going to experience rain all day. It's just the chance of passing showers and varying amounts of sun and cloud. So depending on where you're joining us from, you might be seeing more sun right now compared to more cloud and wet weather. It's all part of this bigger system, and with the winds continuing off the Great Lakes, Lake Huron, Lake Erie, Georgian Bay specifically, we continue to see the potential for lake effect rain showers through the day today. But again, conditions are going to improve as we make our way into Friday evening. So there it is, generally drier, cloud cover starting to break up. This is good news for all the fans who are going to be venturing downtown for Game 1. And then Saturday brings drier conditions still. We do have a decent amount of sunshine to look forward to this weekend. So we're going to talk about that in the 7-day forecast. Now, if you have travel plans to the Caribbean, we have to talk about Tropical Storm Melissa because this is a very slow-moving tropical storm that is forecast to become a major hurricane. So right now, great concern around Jamaica, also parts of the Dominican Republic, perhaps Cuba, and then we're going to watch how this continues to track. But again, your travel plans could be impacted by Tropical Storm Melissa. Just be aware of that. 12 degrees is where we stand right now, a little closer to home, bringing it back to Toronto. It is our forecast daytime high. It's also our seasonal norm, so we're right around where we should be for this time of year. Your evening at a glance, By the mid-evening, we should be in single-digit territory. Overnight tonight, dropping to a seasonal low of 4 degrees, but that too is cooler than we've been. And then tomorrow at a glance, daytime high remains the same, but overnight lows are going to become quite cool as we make our way into the weekend and certainly into next week. Hey, I just want to flag for a second Halliburton here. Chance of mixed precipitation as we head into tomorrow. So it begins. Here is the 7-day forecast. Lows near 1 degree for Saturday and for Sunday nights and overnights, but lots of sunshine following us into the early part of next week. We dip below seasonal for Tuesday. That's the weather for now. Michelle, over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Canada's oldest and largest art fair is back for its 26th year. Art Toronto, bringing together artists from Canada, the U.S., and the rest of the world. And that's where we find our Jessica Smith this hour, live at the Metro Toronto Convention Centre. Looking forward to a tour, Jess.
Honestly, Michelle, it is so cool. Art Toronto really is a special kind of event where you can come in and just take in art of every different kind from around the world and here at home. I want to start with Mia. You're the power behind all of this. Talk to me about what Art Toronto means to you, and as we step into the 26th year, what people can expect, because every time I come through, it blows my mind.
I love that. Art Toronto is Canada's international art fair. So when you come to the show, you will see over 110 galleries from across Canada and around the world. It is a really exciting opportunity to really immerse yourself in the art of Canada and understand its significance from a global perspective.
And you do get a taste of people from around the world. And speaking of that, Ms. Karen, coming from Mexico City, talk to me about what it's like to kind of represent your home and bring so much beauty into the city of Toronto and into Canada.
Well, it's amazing to have for the first time Arte Sur, which is this new section of 11 galleries coming from Costa Rica, Peru, all across the South America and North America. But everybody's super excited to be here. People have been super warm. So you'll see, people will get to see a lot of color, a lot of craftsmanship. So it's going to be amazing.
And it's so unique because you have big installations, you have tiny, tiny pieces. How many different booths or galleries can we expect to kind of walk through? Because I'm looking around us and I see more than 100, is that correct?
Oh, yes. Truthfully, we're about 120. As you know, people arrive at the show, whether you are a seasoned art aficionado or this is your first art fair, I always encourage people to kind of follow their heart. You don't need to, explore the show in a linear way. If something catches your eye from across the room, let that guide you and enjoy the experience.
There really is something for everybody. What would you say to encourage folks to come down who maybe this is their very first art show? They're a little intimidated because, listen, I don't know a ton about art, but I know what I think is beautiful, and that is almost everything here. But what would you say to encourage people to come and check out Art Toronto?
I think, like Mia says, just to come around, get hooked into what you're liking and talk to the gallerists, ask them, who is this artist, where is it from, what's his style, their interest. It's really nice when you get the backstory behind the work itself.
It is obviously a busy couple of days here in the city. Mia, when can they come down? How does it all work, and how long is it going to be here?
Absolutely. So the fair opens to our benefit ticket holders tonight at 6 o'clock, tomorrow from 11 until 8, and Saturday the same, and then Sunday we're here till 6.
Listen, lots of opportunities to come and check it out. Come on down. There's art from all over the world right here in Canada, and it is always so much fun. I'm going to send things back inside to the studio. We're going to go and check out more of this art because it just really is that cool. We'll send things back inside.
There's always so much to look at. Thanks, Jess. Have fun. Still ahead, Ontario health practitioners release new guidelines to help address the stigma surrounding menopause. Details after the break.
For decades, menopause was an unspoken topic in families, but Ontario health practitioners want to change that.
They've developed a new guideline for the province. Our health reporter Pauline Chan has the details.
47-year-old Pinder Baines has been in perimenopause for a couple of years now with various symptoms.
I had a neurologist for headaches because I had unexplained headaches. I also had gynecological issues where I had abnormal bleeding, and at the same time, like hot flashes, brain fog, trouble concentrating.
And she says no one really prepared her for this stage in life.
Unfortunately, like in our family, nobody really talked about it.
That's why Dr. Ileana Lega says the guidelines developed by Ontario Health are so important.
So knowing how to recognize perimenopause and menopause is really key to getting the ball started on eventually treatment. So there's a lot of misinformation about safety around hormone therapy, and so the guidelines really help summarize who is a good candidate for hormone therapy, how to start it, and how to maintain someone on it.
Dr. Lega says as the body changes, so do a woman's health risks.
There are many changes beyond symptoms that need to be addressed. It's a time of cardiovascular risk factor acceleration, meaning blood pressure starts creeping up.
Menopause is also associated with problems like losing bone density, diabetes, high cholesterol, and muscle loss.
I did have various different treatments that I was getting until I was able to see Dr. Lega and was put on HRT, and I can tell you that it's helped tremendously.
Dr. Lega says hormone replacement therapy is safe for the vast majority of women like Pinder, helping with hot flashes and night sweats.
It has benefits beyond that. It's very effective as a bone protecting agent. It can help with sleep. It can help to a certain extent with some joint pains and sometimes with some mood issues.
She says those perimenopausal years in your mid-40s to 50 are a good time to rethink your lifestyle, diet, alcohol intake, smoking, sleep habits, and especially exercise.
Anything you do where you move your body is very important. Ideally, there should be a strength training component as well, so muscle building.
Baines shares her information on menopause openly with her friends.
Every woman is going to be different. Every woman will have different type of symptoms, but I think within my generation and that we're going through this together.
And for more information, you can check with the Menopause Foundation of Canada or the Canadian Menopause Society. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
The team behind Stranger Things is sharing some big news as the series prepares to come to a close.
I think about that night all the time.
Netflix says the 2-hour finale of Stranger Things will debut on streaming and in theaters simultaneously on New Year's Eve. It's been more than 3 years since the coming-of-age sci-fi show debuted. Its 4th season now. Company officials had previously told Variety a theatrical release wasn't in the cards, despite a push from creators, the Duffer Brothers. The first episodes of Stranger Things Season 5 are out November 26th.
Broadway fans can breathe a sigh of relief. 2 labor disputes that might have closed the curtains have been resolved. Nearly 24 musicals might have gone silent as early as today. The union representing 1,200 Broadway musicians said members were ready to strike after contract talks with producers went into mediation. But the 2 sides say they've reached a deal and the show will go on. The union representing U.S. stage actors reached its own agreement with the Broadway League over the weekend.
Get Toronto's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
Toronto's Billy Bishop Airport is preparing for a major increase in cross-border travelers as Air Canada launches new routes to the United States. Starting next spring, the airline will offer non-stop return service to New York's LaGuardia Airport 4 times per day. There'll be 3 daily flights to Boston's Logan Airport, 2 to Chicago's O'Hare Airport, and a daily flight to Dulles Airport in Washington. Porter Airlines has been operating flights from Billy Bishop to U.S. cities for some time, but Air Canada is taking this step as the island airport prepares to open U.S. pre-clearance facilities in the coming months, meaning travelers can go through customs before takeoff.
Shares in Tesla were down to start the trading day after the electric vehicle maker reported mixed quarterly results. The company says its margins were strained by a sharp rise in costs, including more than $400 million U.S. spent on tariffs on auto parts. Tesla did see record sales that helped it beat revenue expectations. Those were driven by a rush in U.S. buyers looking to secure some expiring tax credits. Shares were down around 4% earlier, but have since climbed to less than 1% loss. Regular oil changes in your vehicle are important because oil lubricates, it cleans, and it protects your engine, and it prevents engine failure.
If you skip oil changes, you could damage your engine. And if it's under warranty, there's a chance the repairs won't be covered. CTV's Pat Foran has this consumer alert.
Jacqueline Ferrer of Mississauga and her husband had a baby last year, and with a dog in the family, they decided to get an SUV. They purchased a used 2022 Mazda CX-9 with about 50,000 kilometers on it. Ferrer says over the past year, they took it in for oil changes.
We've taken it for its oil change every 5,000 kilometers, and it's been good to us until it wasn't.
Ferreira did not purchase the SUV from a Mazda dealer and uses her own mechanic for maintenance.
So we do get our oils changed with our own personal mechanic.
In August, there was a problem with the vehicle's camera and then it wouldn't start. They took it to a Mazda dealership and were told there was a problem with the oil level and the engine was seized.
They were asking for proof of our oil changes. We sent them photographs of our oil changes.
Following an investigation, they were told the engine failure was not a defect and would not be covered under warranty. Ferreira says her mechanic had to install a used engine at a cost of almost $10,000.
Financially, it's going to be debilitating if it's not covered.
When CTV News reached out to Mazda, spokesperson said Mazda Canada declined the warranty claim on evidence the engine failure was not caused by a manufacturer defect. A review revealed irregularities in the maintenance documentation provided. If your vehicle is under warranty, you don't have to go to a dealership for oil changes, but many people do. If you do go to an independent mechanic or a lube shop, you do have to follow the owner's manual and the scheduled maintenance. You have to use the right oil and filter and keep detailed records. Mazda told CTV it recognizes the situation has been difficult. Therefore, Mazda offered as a gesture of goodwill to reimburse the cost of the used engine installed by the independent garage. Ms. Ferreira accepted the offer. The family still has questions, but agreed with the outcome.
At least the cost of that engine is covered, which is still a great financial relief. Thank you, CTV. We're really grateful. Thank you so much.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
The Toronto Raptors are off to a great start to the new season.
At the rim. RJ, how about that? On cue. This will be their fourth.
Toronto set a franchise record for points on opening night. They grounded the Atlanta Hawks 138-113 last night. The Raptors' home opener is Friday, tomorrow, against the Milwaukee Bucks. Tip-off has been changed to shortly after 6:30, so fans can watch the Blue Jays in Game 1 of the World Series. In Ottawa, the federal Liberals have tabled legislation with tougher bail and sentencing rules for violent crime.
Today is about stronger laws and safer communities. This morning, we introduced the Bail and Sentencing Reform Act. This is a package of sweeping reforms that includes more than 80 targeted measures that will make bail laws stricter and sentencing tougher, in particular for violent and repeat offenders.
The bill would make it harder to get bail for vehicle thefts, extortion, breaking and entering, and other offenses. It looks to impose a reverse onus on bail for certain offenses, moving the burden of proof from the prosecutor to the accused. The legislation would also allow for consecutive sentences for violent and repeat offenders. While wearing the same clothing, eating the same food, many Blue Jay fans are getting ready for the World Series in their own unique ways.
CTV's Raheem Ladani has more on the superstitions Blue Jays faithful are hoping will bring the team good luck.
Inside this Kensington Market bakery, there's one flavor you could say is good luck.
Coconut cream pie.
That's Wanda Beaver. She and her husband David own Wanda's Pie in the Sky. During the World Series in 1993, coconut cream pie was Joe Carter's favorite, and he was craving a slice to be delivered before the historic Game 6.
He was sitting there with a couple of other fellows, and he says, well, how much do you want for that? I go, tell you what, make you a deal, Joe. You can have the pie for free. You just have to return the pie plate when you're done with the pie, after you win the World Series, I said. And he goes, sounds like a deal.
And we all know what happened next.
It's the pie that won the World Series. That's what we used to call, we still call it. Now we're getting people coming in and they go, I heard your stories. I want a coconut cream pie. Is the magic? The magic is still there. And every time that happens, they win.
As the 2025 Blue Jays gear up for their first World Series appearance in more than 3 decades, a lot of fans have their own superstitions they'll be following.
I've had 3 beers each game that they've won, so 3 beers consistently.
Same jersey, same hat. Around the 7th inning, just before it started, rally cap on.
While everyone has their own game day ritual for the World Series, it might have been Vladimir Guerrero Jr. himself who broke Toronto's Game 7 playoff curse. Vladdy walked into the ballpark ahead of the Jays' deciding game against the Seattle Mariners wearing an Auston Matthews Maple Leafs jersey. Anxious fans feared the fashion choice, as the Leafs have lost all 3 Game 7s they've played in the Matthews era. But Guerrero went on to win the ALCS MVP, and the Jays punched their ticket to the World Series.
Everyone in here is rooting for the Jays right now, obviously, so it's I'm sure it's the same thing when they're coming to our games, but for him to show some love and respect to Austin is obviously well-deserved. It's great to see from Vladdy.
Back at Wanda's, they say if any Jays player is looking for dessert ahead of this World Series,
Joe Carter had a good idea, and it worked for him. Maybe it can work for you, too.
Yeah.
One slice may lead to the sweetest win of all. Raheem Ladani, CTV News.
Good. Any superstitions?
Not really. I'm just thinking, are these just excuses to eat pie and drink 3 beers?
Of course they are. I have to keep drinking.
Oh,
yes.
yeah. Mine is 5 beers. No. We don't need superstitions. This team is amazing. Can't wait to watch them tomorrow. In the meantime, get us caught up weather-wise.
Yeah, so things are looking pretty good for game time for both Friday and Saturday. We'll get to that in just a moment. One more look first, though, at our satellite and radar. It has been an unsettled week, but improvements are coming. 12 is our forecast high for tomorrow. Around first pitch, you can expect that the temperature tomorrow night will be about 7 degrees with clearing skies, and then it's quite a bit of sunshine for the weekend. Some chilly overnight temperatures Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, but it's going to be drier. Nathan and Michelle.
Thank you, Lindsay. And that is CTV News at noon. Remember, you can get Toronto's breaking news all day long on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and all of us here, have a pleasant afternoon. I'm Michelle Dubé.
And I'm Nathan Downer. Be sure to join us later for CTV News at 5 and 6. Have a great afternoon.